There's a confusion going on. Let me take you there, and then we'll come back to know what the issue is.
I can see you are interested in your addressing. But that will tell you hey, this will never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. Hey.
So you see there.
Blaring tonight over the Ablekuma North Parliamentary seat as the dust is yet to settle on the controversy which is raging in that constituency. Guess what? For 5 consecutive times, attempts by the Electoral Commission to proceed and complete the collation of the parliamentary elections results for the Ablekuma North constituency of the Greater Accra region is yet again ending in a deadlock, excerpts of which you saw there at the Greater Accra Regional Coalition Centres. The reason for which we're bringing you the special edition of PM Express, focusing on that big race and the controversial coalition of the electoral results in that constituency. Let's get to it and give you a sense of what's happening, because in the last 48 hours, it is instructive to note that the 9th Parliament of the Fourth Republic has been set into motion. But that's happening without one in the red there, parliamentary seat, which is yet to be concluded upon. And that's the seat that we're talking. The outstanding seat after 200 and, of course, 75 seats have been collated by the Electoral Commission. But that's happening without the settlement of one key constituency, which is likely to give the National Democratic Congress an absolute majority in Parliament. And that's the Ablekuma North seat that we're talking about here. 183 seats as we speak in terms of parliamentary results going in favor of the National Democratic Congress, just giving them the advantage and a step away of becoming the absolute majority in Parliament, which has not happened in a long time history of the Fourth Democratic Dispensation. It's the reason for which this very parliamentary seats that we're talking about is very critical and crucial to the National Democratic Congress, a reason for which the party believes that it has won that very seat that we're talking about. The blue you see there, 88 seats going in favor of the New Patriotic Party, with controversies over what may happen to 4 other seats. Those parliamentary candidates for the 4 seats have been sworn in terms of the NPP and adding up to that 88 seats that they have. But if we were to go by what it is that the National Democratic Congress is seeking to do with the seats involved there, that might flip over to the NDC side if the courts agree with the National Democratic Congress. But that's a very long stretch, because it's going to be a long road for the National Democratic Congress in trying to reverse that decision. We need to wait on the courts and see what then will happen. But there's also another 4 that you need to pay attention to. And these 4 are parliamentary candidates, now parliamentarians who are independent. So the likes of A+ and the others are now persons who are going into Parliament without the sponsorship of any of the political parties. But a majority of them, as we know it, are making that stance that they will be working with the National Democratic Congress. So it's safe to say now that without the Ablekuma North seat, it is confirmed that indeed the NDC does have the majority in terms of the 2/3 of parliamentary seats. But speaking about parties or candidates that they've sponsored, they need just this one, the Ablekuma North seat, just to have that absolute majority in Parliament. So these 2 women you see on the screen here are the ones vying for that post. And I must say they've been very, very vociferous on why they believe that they are the ones who've actually won the elections. You take a look at Irabina Obin of the National Democratic Congress, who has her stance as to why she believes she's won this year's elections. And, of course, wants the Electoral Commission to declare as such in her favor. But it's not happening because of today's development. The EC believes that it needs to complete some more, polling stations, verify some pink sheets, to be able to come out with the final results on who has actually won in that constituency. Then you have the NPP's candidate who was also present today at the Greater Accra Coalition Centre. We'll get to everything for you shortly, but I need to give you a sense of the timeline, right? Shall we get to it? It started off all the way on the 10th of December 2024 when Irabna Orbin was declared initially as the winner of that parliamentary election. Just 3 days away from that, the EC came out, held a press conference and reversed that decision together with some other parliamentary seats. There were 9 in all. All of them have been cleared now, except for Ablekuma North, which is becoming a headache. That's because on the 17th of December 2024, fire garnered the very center that was hosting or perhaps, holding all of the ballot papers and the electoral materials in one of the schools within Kwashiman area. And that's why perhaps we're having this challenge of easily verifying the pink sheets that would have giving us a sense of who clearly has won in that very constituency. Now, walk along with me. Let's talk about what's happening to the New Patriotic Party, because on the 18th, the NPP's legal team decided to head to the courts. They went first to the High Court, asking the mandamus order to be granted by the court so they are able to, of course, proceed with the coalition. Then we know what happened after us, the NDC going in for that landmark ruling from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court on the 27th of December, of course, I was there in court when the courts then decided to quash the earlier ruling by the High Court. But we're back to square one, because after the courts directed the High Court to listen to the NDC, the High Court is now giving another order to the Electoral Commission to proceed with the coalition of the results for the Okaigwe Central, 3 others, including the Ablekuma North area. Surprisingly, Ablekuma North is yet to be concluded. And that's why we're seeing the chaos that we're seeing tonight, with tension on the rise. But let me give you a sense of the constituency that we're talking about here, because traditionally speaking, this has been, and speaking by the records and the figures that you see here, the Electoral Commission's figures, we have deduced that clearly this has been for a long time an NPP stronghold. The highest point ever that the NDC has come close to post-1992 has been 34.54% of the votes cast. But you look at what's happening as of 2020, they in fact dipped below that high point that they have back in 1996, where of course they were having some 34.54%. So this is by far the first time that we're having a very close margin. And listen to the arguments that the NPP is making. A significant one that, of course, gives us a sense of why this race is a tight one. This is Nana Akua-Afrie, who is the candidate of the New Patriotic Party. And guess what she's saying? She's making that argument that if you go by her data, she's won the elections with 414 votes in a constituency that has long been dominated by the New Patriotic Party. So it does tell you that this is indeed a very tight race. And that's why the NDC thinks otherwise. They hold a different view, believing that the will of the people should not be subverted. Take a look at the figures. 281 polling stations, 121,266 individuals on the electoral roll of the Electoral Commission. But the NDC is having none of that argument from the NPP that this is your stronghold. Here's the quote from Irabna Orbin herself. She's saying that, quote, "We will resist any attempt by the Electoral Commission to alter the will of the people. The NDC has won the Ablekuma North seat and no one can change that." But is that likely to happen as the EC says it will proceed with the exercise? That's the big question tonight we're putting to Irabna Orbin, who will be joining us here on PM Express. But beyond that, tension is on the rise. What's the intervention of the National Peace Council? And what's also the argument of the New Patriotic Party? We'll explore all of that here on PM Express with me, Blessed Sogam. Be my guest. We talk to my guests after this break. Stay with us. Your election headquarters, and thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. This is PM Express. And tonight, the conversation is about the outstanding parliamentary seat, which has denied the people of Ablekuma North their MP. What's the way forward and how are the candidates feeling about the latest development? I need to put on record here that we have, of course, reached out to the NPP's parliamentary candidate, Nana Efriye, who had initially confirmed to be part of the conversation. But tonight, she's pulled out based on counsel from her team. So we now proceed to welcome Irabina Obin, who's the National Democratic Congress's parliamentary candidate for the Ablekuma North constituency. And of course, going forward, how do we ensure peace within Ablekuma North? I'll speak shortly also to Dr. George Amo, who's the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council. Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, who will be joining us a little later in the course of our program. But Irabina Obin, welcome to PM Express. And let's start off by, the graphic images that we saw today. The fact that there's been tension, of course, at the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. I'm sure that you were not there, but what accounts are you receiving from your agents who were there as to what might have transpired today? And what's your impression of what's happened so far? And kindly unmute for us, Irabina, so we can hear the points you're making while you speak.
Bear with me.
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me say a very good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. Issues in relation to Ablekuma North and Collation. It's been pretty frustrating, disappointing, nauseating. It's been awful. It's been awful. Sadly, we weren't expecting this series of events from the MPP and the Electoral Commission. But sadly, we are witnessing series of attempts just to overturn the actual results from the constituency at the just ended polls or elections. I think after our elections on the 7th December, we began our collation at the constituency collation center. It took us 2 days. And this is where tensions began to get heightened and all. In the 2 days, there was no declaration. We had to relocate or move on to the regional collation office of the EC. Exactly the venue we've been at back and forth. And so on the 10th December, after some 219 polling stations, and with the MPP claiming they did not have pink sheets at all to tender, and with the EC also losing its electoral materials, they didn't have much of a choice than to declare with what was substantive or what they had handy. And that's how come I was declared on the 10th of December. Fast forward, we also witnessed the statement from the EC chair and her team suggesting that there's been some kind of irregularities or illegal declaration. I don't know what they mean by illegal declaration, claiming that the returning officer was made the declarations under duress, etc. I didn't see that happening and I didn't witness that. How can someone who is making a declaration under duress be able to give you a form or a declaration form signed by him, dated and everything? I have my copy, the EC has a copy. And so when days after we had these reports from the EC head office, it was a bit astonishing, but oh well. Then we head to court because some constituencies had issues. Back and forth, I'm sure you heard what came out of the High Court, where we had to proceed, our legal team, our council had to proceed to the High Court. Some second declarations were quashed, etc. Back to Ablekuma North, we had to come to polling station elections or vote.
Right. But given what's happening today, and just going by the statement, of course, from your contender, That's Nana Efriye. She still holds the view that she's won this election. She's putting her figure somewhere around 400 in terms of her own tabulation. You say that's not the case. Are you still standing by that, that indeed you're the victor in this election?
You know what, that woman, for want of a better word, I don't want to call her con woman, but we live in the constituency. She's been with us for years, and so we know her games and how she doesn't accept defeat quite easily, and she feels that sense of entitlement. I mean, if you followed our campaign, you realize how aggressive she was, even with signboards, placement of signboards in the constituency. And so she's used to misbehaving. I wouldn't take her commentary seriously. She lost the elections. She's been MP before. She was in Parliament. People have experienced her. They don't want her. They need a change. They wanted the NDC. It's been MPP of 28 years. We need development. And so this time around, the majority of voters or the electorate in Ablekuma North voted for change. And they voted massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And they voted for Erabna Obeng. But you see, if she claims she won the elections, why did she go about the constituency, taking back gifts and goodies she had given to entice voters in the first place? Maybe when you engage her, you should ask her such questions.
But what we work with is that...
And at what point did she realize that she had won with some 400 votes? At what point did she realize
but what we work with...
She didn't have pink sheets.
Yeah, exactly the question I wanted to put across to you. What we work with constitutionally is the figures. And that's where the challenge is now in the case of the Ablekuma North seat. Did you all lose your pink sheets? What's happening? Because the Electoral Commission also doesn't seem to have the pink sheets as well. None of the political parties do have. You're just dealing with a scanned copy. What's the story of the NDC?
I'll come to the issue of scanned copies pretty shortly, but you see, I mentioned that we spent 2 days and nights at our constituency collation center tabulating figures and results, simply because the EC, perhaps they weren't being straightforward with us. It was at our constituency collation center where our MCE, well, outgoing as of today, our MCE sneaked in pink sheets, parliamentary pink sheets, to favor the NPP candidate, even at the constituency collation center. And so the mayhem at the constituency began when the EC started calling out figures, and grassroots and supporters out there had some votes. And they thought, why are they mentioning some strange figures that we are all coming from the polling station? We didn't hear this. And so the figures they were mentioning, some of them were contrary to what we thought we had at the polling stations and what we had. Unfortunately, in the course of the collation at the constituency, a group of people barged in from nowhere. We heard chants outside, etc. You can't lay the blame to party A or party B because the tensions were high at the time. But during the scuffle, this is where all three parties, I would say, or let me speak for the NDC, that is where we lost some of our pink sheets. But then we had already collated our results, okay? And so if the EC had made it known to us that we could use scan sheets or shots on our phones to confirm that we had X results, we would have done that long time ago. But we knew that we needed the actual statement of poll to present, and that is what we had lost. On the contrary, the MPP did not have a single pink sheet from the onset to present. But you would see today that all of a sudden, they were presenting some pink sheets, even for the POs that they claimed they had called to come and present and show us proof of their results. Now, why are we not asking a few salient questions? From the word go, we have made some wild accusations and wild commentary that the MC brought in some pink sheets in favor of the parliamentary candidate of the NPP. I'm surprised the EC is not worried. I'm surprised the EC is not concerned. I'm surprised the police are not worried about these developments. That what happened? Why don't we invite these parties, these allegations? What's the proof? Where did it happen? How? Because the police were present. The police that were meant to protect both parties or all three parties were present.
Per the regulation,
right under their
per the regulation that governs the election. I get it. But per the regulation that governs the election, you have the opportunity. Just hold on for me. You have the opportunity to bring out your pink sheets. I guess that's what's facing you now. The question as to why, as a candidate, you're not able to produce your own copies of the pink sheets. Don't you feel that's what's affecting you now?
But all 219 were pink sheets that the NDC produced.
Right.
And even as of today, since the EC said we could produce scanned documents or soft copies, we presented some of the results to them. They refused to pick it or to take it or to accept it. They were bent on accepting soft copies from the NPP, but not from the NDC. How are you a fair referee in such a game?
For you, what will suffice? A rerun of the election, or perhaps you want the coalition to proceed. Which one will work for you as the candidate?
It is not about what will work for me. It is about what is acceptable, what is fair. This is not going to be the last election in Ablekuma North or in Ghana. So subsequently, what are the electoral laws? What are we looking forward to, or what are we looking up to? Okay, so if the EC is to come out today and say that we are going to have a rerun, how many polling stations are we going to have the rerun at? Because from 62 polling stations, they accepted scanned documents only from the NPP, not verified by the NDC, not double-checked by the NDC, but only the NPP and the EC. Today, we were at the Collation Center. Now, it was yesterday as at 9:47 p.m. I had a call to say that you are to present yourself and your agents to the Collation Center today. But on Monday, when we left, before we left the center, I am pretty sure the NPP, that is the other side, they knew they were going to be here today. And so ask yourself that what exactly is the EC doing, or what exactly is the EC doing with the NPP? I think this administration of the Electoral Commission has been, I have no words, but I am so disappointed. I am so disappointed at how they make up their own rules. Look at the case of Techiman South. Let's look at our electoral law. What was the stance of the EC after declarations, and what is their stance now?
Right. So
it looks like when the shoe is on another foot, it doesn't work.
Your contender...
If it has to do with the NDC, then you have to forget it.
Yeah,
the EC is simply behaving like MPP. They are behaving like MPP.
I see. Your contender...
And not people serving the interests of Ghanaians.
Your contender, the NPP candidate, has provided some scanned copies of the pink sheets. Do you doubt those documents? Because the EC appears to be working with those pink sheets in part. Are you also able to affirm the accuracy on those pink sheets since you don't have yours?
Those we don't have the pink sheets, but we have the figures.
Right.
You see, we don't have the physical pink sheets, but we have the figures.
How did you arrive at that, actually?
Because, and this is why we have maintained and told the EC that the scanned documents that the NPP keeps producing are falsified. But today, you saw what happened at the Collation Center. The regional director who tried hiding a pink sheet because a presiding officer couldn't authenticate or couldn't sign their own signature or repeat a signature they had put on the pink sheet. We all saw it on camera. We all witnessed it. And so why the need at all costs to try and then declare for a certain candidate. And in our instance, or in Ablekuma North, the NPP. Honestly, that cannot happen, and that will not happen.
Okay, Rabana, just hold on for me. The National Peace Council is also concerned about what's happening in your constituency. The Executive Director, Dr. George Amo, is joining us. And Doc, you've listened to the tension that is on the rise in the Ablekuma North constituency. How do we resolve this deadlock now, knowing that the NDC candidate has a concern, that of the NPP also has a concern? Where do we go from here? The ECs are the center of this.
Yeah, thank you very much, my friend Blessed. And greetings once again to the good people of Ghana, and to congratulate all Ghanaians, President-elect, our president, and our first female vice president. I think we've made Ghana proud, and we should all be happy. It's unfortunate, Blessed, that Ablekuma North, which we did not even factor as one of the hotspots ahead of the December elections, is now going through such a difficult moment. What I want to urge is for our sisters, Rabinai, and the NPP candidate. I think now, for me, as a peace builder, we have gone a bit beyond what dialogue can do in this matter. And I strongly feel, listening to all the conversations this evening and earlier in the day, that I think probably the legal resort will be the best way out now. I think that we should let the will of the people stand, regardless of the numbers that we have. You see, and the Electoral Commission has a big role in this. It's unfortunate the place where the polls were kept, got bent. I think we have to learn from this how to prevent such an occurrence in future, because if we have them, this matter would have been resolved long ago. So we have to learn out of this. But I want to encourage my sisters. You are two great women of our country. This position cannot be held by two. It can only be taken one at a time. And I want to encourage you, there is always tomorrow. Whoever will finally be declared as the winner, it might be a significant loss. I think they should have the courage and the interests of our country to accept the outcome as will be declared, because by all means, sooner or later, there will be a declared winner. I just want to encourage you.
Yeah, and the reason why we're bringing the National Peace Council into this is because of what's happening. And of course, you can see excepts on the screens now, an open confrontation, even with the security agencies. You can see that on the screens now. That's where things have gotten to now. We heard from Irabna pointing out, of course, how serious this issue is. Are you willing, as the National Peace Council, to lead the dialogue, perhaps, to avoid any post-election confrontation, to try and dialogue with the EC and bring all the feuding candidates, to the table to dialogue on this?
Yes, listen, where we are now in this matter, I think it will be quite difficult trying to use dialogue. It will be very difficult, because the positions are entrenched. Supporters are all over. Trying to see, bringing them, even listening to my sister Rabna will be tough. So I think the legal route will be best for now, because there should be a declaration. There should be a declaration. What we have planned doing, and unfortunately we didn't factor Ablekuma North because we didn't see that as one of the hotspots, ahead of the election. But we have planned to go to an estimated 30 constituencies where we thought we are going to have some challenges after the elections. So we are likely to factor Ablekuma North into this 30. And that we plan doing, we thought somewhere February, when the government has settled down a bit. We try to engage and see where we can mend, battered relations here and there. But the way things are going, I just want to appeal to our two beautiful sisters. They may be our mothers, mothers to some of our children. Let's look beyond this. I think that there's life after these elections.
Yeah, but Doc, are we leaving out the responsibility of the Electoral Commission? All of this is happening for Sam because of the EC's inability to effectively manage the recollation process. You admit that's not been properly handled?
I do admit that, but we cannot discount the fact that the place where they were keeping their materials also got burnt. I think that disabled them. I mean, if those materials were there, my brother, blessed, it would have been easier, doing the collation without recourse to either the pieces, So we cannot wholly hold them, accountable because of the circumstances. So, but they have to be very careful and ensure that the will of the people reflects in whatever outcome that comes out. And now it is difficult. And that's why I'm saying that probably the courts may have to come in to bring finality to this issue.
All right.
Otherwise, I want to encourage my sisters, please, let's look beyond today. Okay. I'm sure a lot of opportunities would come. Regardless of who is finally declared. There should be a closer to this matter.
Dr. Amo, just hold on for us. Haruna Mohammed is also with us, but I want to go back to Irabna, so we close the chapter on the conversation with her. Irabna, the point about, going to court now, is that the only option on the table for you? And are you equally open to dialogue? Because we've seen open confrontation at the Regional Coalition Center now. And what's your message also to the constituents, many of whom are watching us now, of course, wondering what your next step will be? Kindly unmute so we can hear the points you're sharing with us, Irabna. Irabna, you'd have to unmute so we can hear your points. Yes.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it better, please?
It's better. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. So, how do you even engage in a dialogue when the person who is supposed to act as an independent body to ensure that there is fairness, there's integrity, there's some kind of accountability, has already taken an entrenched position and is literally is in bed with your opponent? How do you do that? How do you even have a successful dialogue? We go to the court. The court is supposed to be a neutral grounds too. You go there and you go and meet party people, FPP party people there sitting in chairs, not all of them, but you get them making judgments. And so the whole system is shambolic. And I think we are confronted or we are saddled with some frightening occurrences, and we really need to be careful. Honestly, I am over the moon and I am ecstatic that there's been a change of government, because I ask myself, what if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did not win? I'm sure Ghana would have been some kind of a jungle that maybe nobody could fit in. We go into an elections. It's been a month after elections and we are still struggling in Ablekuma North. Is the EC considering the fact that there are persons involved, there are individuals involved, we've invested time, a whole lot. And even after the declaration, you don't get to even celebrate because you are saddled with all manner, just because you are trying to take the seat away because NDC obviously has too many seats. Is this an excuse? And somebody is trying to get into parliament because, and that is the NPP, she's made this statement several in the constituency, saying that she has lost so much money and so she needs to go to parliament to recoup the money. And this is what she's been saying in the constituency. I don't want to go to parliament to recoup money. I'm going to Parliament because the people need better representation. And we need development in Ablekuma North.
Well, but these claims you're making, we need to put that. Yeah, we just need to put on the record that we're not able to independently verify.
96 of the MPP.
Yeah, we can't verify. We can't verify the claims you're making.
In Ablekuma North, we need change.
Right.
Why are you trying to subvert the will of the people?
We can't verify what you're telling us now. Briefly, let's wrap up with your message to the constituents of Ablekuma North. If you had a message for them, what would you want them to know?
I am full of gratitude to the people of Ablekuma North. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without their support, without their resilience, without their encouragement, because they are actually taking me through every step of the way, and I am eternally grateful to them. I can assure them that soon and very soon there'll be light at the end of this tunnel. It's been gloomy days these past 4 weeks, back and forth, going to the regional collation center, going to the courts, etc. But I admire their resilience. I appreciate their constant effort and how determined they have been to protect the votes that we all worked for. I can only show appreciation and say thank you to them. I pray God protects all of us, because the way the MPP candidate is desperate, she's like a wounded lion who without a seat, she can't survive. But trust me, she's lost. She's lost it. And there is no way, no matter how, and I'll say this again, no matter how hard the EC tries, it's not going to work.
Right. And we're grateful that you're spending time with us here on PM Express. That's Rabna Orbin, the parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress in the Ablekuma North constituency. The controversy is raging. When we return, we'll hear from the Peace Council again, and also the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP is on with us. We'll hear some brief comments from him and call it a night. Please stay with us. You're watching PM Express, and the New Patriotic Party has a position on what's been happening to the Ablekuma North race in terms of the declaration of the parliamentary results. Joining me now is the Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, joining us now via Zoom. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us here on PM Express. Let's get to it, because we've heard from the NDC's parliamentary candidate making claims clearly that she believes she's the one who's won the elections. Your candidate also believes same. How do we get out of this?
Thank you very much, Blessed. I would first say good evening to you, your team, and Rabra, and the member of the National Peace Council, and all your viewers out there. We have finished with the 2024 general elections, and we have some few constituencies that were having issues that we had to use legal procedures to be able to get some of these particular constituencies worked on. We have been to court, High Court, Supreme Court, back to High Court. Directives have been given. And for us in the MPP, we believe that we have to do everything possible to ensure that the right thing is done and the declaration is made by the Electoral Commission of Ghana, which has been given this mandate per the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and CI 127, which mandates the Electoral Commission through the returning officer to declare the person who has won these particular elections. Blessed, I want to make some few comments and correct some inaccuracies in terms of the discussion so far that has gone on this particular matter. First, you ask yourself, why are we here? Why? What is the cause, the causative agent of us being at where we are today? Elections are completed at the polling stations. Results are declared at the polling stations by presiding officers. Pink sheets after declarations are being done, giving copies to political parties. And I make reference to CI 127, Regulation 39.3b. And I read, each candidate or the representative of each candidate or the counting agent a copy of the declaration of results and is given to this particular candidate or their representative. Blessed, again, if you read CI 127 Regulation 43, 43.1f, and I read, give each candidate or the representative or a counting agent of a candidate a completed and signed copy of the Parliamentary Elections Resource Collation form as set out in Form 1C of the schedule and the Parliamentary Elections Resource Summary Sheet as set out in Form 1D of the schedule. The two political parties, that is the MPP and the NDC, per this particular law, per this regulation that regulates public elections in Ghana, were given copies of this particular pink sheets. Blessed, why do we have a scanned copy? We have a scanned copy because we have a pink sheet how we receive them from polling station. These pink sheets will go to our constituency party office collation center, where we have our officers who are doing the collation. When the pink sheet arrives there, the first thing is it has to be scanned. When the pink sheet is scanned, then we verify the figures and enter them into our sheet or a system that we are using for collation. Then these pink sheets will now be taken and sent to the collation center, which is at the EC. So before a pink sheet will get to the collation center from the MPP, it is already scanned. Blessed, remember in this country, we have laws that governs these particular things that we have. We have the Electronic Transaction Act, that is Act 772. And if you look at the Electronic Transaction Act 7, we had admissibility and evidential weight of electronic records. Besides that, we have not sent an electronic record to the Electoral Commission for them to use it for entry. We scanned this document and we printed them on copies, and we certified these copies and send them to the collation center. And remember,
Haruna, per the CI governing this election, there's no provision where the Electoral Commission is to be aided by any of the political parties in terms of your electronic transfer, or has to come through from the Electoral Commission's own fax process, and you have copies served on you as political parties. So if you're doing your own internal coalition exercise, that should be to your advantage, at least so you're able to advance your cause. But per law, the EC has to deal with the remits of the CI.
Blessed, I read portions of the CI to you. Regulation 39, 3B, Regulation 43, 1F.
Which talks about electronic transfer? It's not explicit, right?
Talks about copies of the pink sheets.
And not electronic copies, electronic transfers.
We have electronic copy doesn't mean that we brought an electronic device there to be looked at by the commission.
Do you acknowledge the fact, Haruna Mohammed, that there is a possibility that, given the age in which we find ourselves of technological advancement, that a scanned copy could be reproduced or recreated?
Blessed, why you ask yourself or you ask the NDC, where at all is their pink sheet? Where is theirs? Remember, collation got stalled at those particular collation centers because hoodlums of NDC besieged the center and destroyed collation.
Haruna Mohammed, where are your pink sheets? Haruna Mohammed, where are your pink sheets as well as the NPP?
We have our pink sheets.
So where is it? Produce them and help the process.
When you are eating with the devil, you eat with a long spoon. We know the NDC.
So you wish to tell me on record now that you have the pink sheets, except that you're keeping that close to your chest because of political expediency?
Yes, because we don't want the NDC has trained their people to be destroying things. They went and destroyed the Electoral Commission's own. So if they have done so and they have their copies, where is their copies? We have brought copies of the pink sheets by way of photocopy or by way of a print out of a scanned copy that we did. We did not send a scanned electronic copy to the center. We printed copies of the scanned pink sheets. So it is not that we have sent an electronic pink sheet there. We sent a printed copy from the scanned documents that we made. So you ask yourself, the NDC, okay, they have gone to destroy the PEC's own. where is their pink sheet?
Okay, with all this tension and fight happening at the regional coalition center, even today, are you saying that you still hold on to the pink sheets, regardless of the fact that the EC needs hard copies now?
We brought some of the hard copies to the center. We brought some hard copies. If you verify from your reporter.
Yeah, but why not release all of them so we collate and finish the process?
That's why I'm saying that. I'm saying that if you are eating with the devil, you have to eat with a long spoon. Remember, all the pink sheets they are calling scanned copies or electronic copies or what have you, the 219 polling stations they did the collation was from those particular pink sheets. The NDC did not bring a single pink sheet to the collation center.
But we just heard from Irabna pointing out that they've provided some as well.
They did not provide any. They did not. They destroyed everything and they refused to bring their pink sheets. I was at the collation center. I was at Tesano. I followed to the regional EC office. Today, I'm not there. The director of elections is there. We've decided to produce some of the pink sheets copies that were given us because we were very sure of certain number of security measures. And even so, we're still protecting those particular pink sheets. What I'm making is that all the pink sheets that we have scanned, all are available. And we will prove to them all these particular things.
Will the new patriotic party take responsibility for any tension that may pile up or build up within the Ablekuma North constituency for the sake of that?
Why would we take any responsibility when we did not send our hooligans to go and attack?
Yeah, but you have the pink sheets. Help the Electoral Commission out here if you do have the original copies.
There is admissibility of copies. Even photocopies are admissible if the photocopies are verifiable. So in law, it is admissible.
It's under contention here. We need the original copies, right?
We don't trust the security arrangement, and we will keep them. There is other avenues that is available for us when all these things fail. So we'll keep them for evidential value. The pink sheets they are disputing now were the same pink sheets we used to compile the 219 polling stations until they realized that they were losing the elections and they had to disrupt and destroy many of the other electing materials and stopped the collation. We're all in this country when we realized that a school that has been built for our children in this country, a very nice school that we are using to develop the human capital base, was burnt down because somebody wants to become an MP. You see, the MPP has not trained their youth to become hooligans or to go and be destroying things here and there.
Yeah.
You witness that even today. Look at the poster of the organ. They were knocking the table.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
I want to also make this particular point very clear. I heard about that going to the court, and you go to the court and MPP people are sitting in there. I don't understand. Some clarifications.
Yeah, indeed. Let's keep it as open as it is because there were no names mentioned. So let's make progress now, Haruna Mohammed. The final point about the possibility of having these issues settled in court. Already, the National Democratic Congress is in court. We understand they may head to the Supreme Court over 3 others, I believe, making them 4 in all in terms of the seats which the party believes it is in strong control of. I think Akwetia would make it 5 then. Are you open to those challenges? The possibility that if any other order is given by the Supreme Court, which tilts to the NDC's side, you may be losing all of these seats again?
The first political party to abide by orders of the court with respect to elections is the MPP. We're the first to go for an election petition, for presidential election petition. We accepted the judgment of the court, even though the judge who declared or who did the ruling deceived us in terms of the numbers that came, because we were told that it was 5-4 decision. When the judgment came out, it was 3-6 decision. He told us that it was 3-6 decision, right? But it came as 5-4, meaning that we could have gone for appeal, but we accepted it, and peace reigned in this particular country. We accept the law. Wherever the law the law or the law court decides in terms of these particular elections by way of election petition, we don't have problem because we are the pace setters of democracy. We are the only political party that have never staged a coup in this country. And we believe that the parliamentary democracy and these particular democracy systems that we are running is very much more credible. And I want to put this one. If a scanned pink sheet is not credible, what about an Excel sheet that is being used by NDC and wants the Electoral Commission to accept
Haruna, it's a long process, interesting days ahead, but I'm grateful for your time, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, wrapping up our conversation for tonight. Grateful to Dr. George Amo, who joined us from the National Peace Council and calling for peace. We choose peace. That's what we stand for here at your election headquarters, Joy News. I am Blessed Sugan. Of course, it's been a pleasure serving you here on PM Express. We'll see you again. Have a good night.